Hey everybody. Listen, happy Saturday. I'm here late doing trending topics. And late because of what's going on right now. Sebastian, you said it best. You said it best. So let me back up and first say thank you everybody for being here. Thank you for spending part of your Saturday with me. We're doing trending topics Saturdays, and I'm saying what a mess. What a mess. What a mess. We got to talk about this Trump rally in Philadelphia and all the chaos. And I want to say up front, I mean, Sebastian, you couldn't have said it better. And I will only have this conversation. I will abort mission if anybody in the chat gets crazy and wild with this and says something disrespectful. But where is it? I want to put up with Sebastian. He said, my heart hurts for all of the victims. You have the right to assembly in our Constitution. No one deserves to be unalive for their political views. Sebastian, I am 10 toes down with you. 10 toes down with you. This is sad. This is a terrible time in our history. My condolences to the innocent bystander that lost their life. No matter how you feel about Trump, this shouldn't have happened to him, and it should happen to no one. Should happen to no one. So this is a very sad time in our history. Political unrest right now. A lot is going on. Yes, and please do not come in my chat with anything crazy, because that's not what we're doing today. We're not doing that. We're not doing that at all. We're not doing that. So that's not the type of conversation we have over here. I'm not having that conversation. I do not want to hear that someone deserved this, because that's not what we're doing. I like a fair fight. Listen, you fight it out for the votes. You have your, debates, and may the best person win at the end of the day. But this right here is chaos. Yes, no one, Brittany. Come on, this is the type of talk I like. We got to do adulting here. No one should have to endure harm because of their opinions and views. I agree with you. We're not doing this. So I did not come up here tonight to say anything crazy. And please let me know. You got to help me, because, I just came on randomly this time, and I don't have a lot of mods to begin with, right? So y'all help me if somebody in the chat is going off the road. Y'all need to tell me, because I'm going to block them. I'm straight blocking them. Straight blocking them. Because we have to have this conversation. This is sad. Shouldn't have happened. And we say freedom of speech, but then when people have their freedom of speech, we want to just bury them. That's insane. It even happens with conversations in YouTube. We seen it with Love and Thank you, Sasuke. We seen it with Love and Marriage Huntsville. Because people have a different opinion than someone else, people want to get crazy with them. People are real. People have feelings. People have the right to say what they want to say. And I think it was that NFL player, his commencement speech, very unpopular. I didn't agree with it. But I also don't agree with everybody continuing to want to beat him up over his views. They're his. He has the freedom to say whatever he wants to say. And so does Trump. And so does Biden. Now, I'm trying to figure out how to dissect this Project 2025. Let me know in the chat if you have read it. So if you read it, let me know in the chat. And if you really seen it, I want people to put in the chat who really seen it. How many pages is Project 2025? How many pages? I want to know if the people really read it, really seen it. Because in order for us to do this here, we would literally have to break this down. Oh, thank you, Sebastian. You actually saw it. We would literally have to break this down agenda by agenda, so to speak. You have to break this down. Yeah, it's a book for real, Emmanuel. We would have to break this down agenda by agenda. Because, this is going to be unpopular opinion. A lot of stuff that they're saying in there is true, but it's inciting the people. Let me just throw this out there really quickly. Section 8, food stamps, what do you call it? Whatever, it doesn't help people. It really doesn't. And it's been in existence for how long? And it's not changing any behaviors. I heard a person say, if you took Jeff Bezos' money away, Jay-Z, take any billionaire in this world, and you take all of their money and you give it to poor people. He said, one thing I can promise you. He said, in 2 years, Jeff Bezos and everybody you took the money from that was a billionaire, they would have made their money back. And he said, all the poor people you would have gave their money to, they would be broke again. Poverty, just like they said, rich is a mindset, poverty is a mindset. But we're going to see how we can break this down and perhaps talk about it and dissect it and read it. We're going to see how we can do it, agenda by agenda. A long time ago, and I can't quote the person who actually said this, but they said, if you don't want the people to know something, put it in writing. So what they're pumping out there is they're pumping pieces of the document to incite the people. But if you read the whole document and you read the whole section of the part that is really getting under your skin, you will have a better mindset. And Brittany's saying, parents of young people, please read what will be done to the Department of Education. You said, I know you're saying it's scary, Brittany, but can I tell you what's really scary is? Currently, right now, today, in the Department of Education, there's so many kids that are failing and not making it and a whole lot of other stuff. There are schools currently today, and before the document of 2025 was put out, there were teachers that were fabricating grades, test scores, pushing people along for money and all kind of stuff. So what am I saying? All I'm saying is everything that's written in Project 2025, they just happen to write it out, but it's already happening. It's already happening. When you go to the lunch program, everybody's they're going to get rid of the lunch program, right? Well, when you look at all of these programs that give benefits and money, when you look at the criteria, it's like I'm talking to people that really get it is below poverty. Because they'll be like, if you have 3 kids and make more than $25,000, then you don't qualify. If you got 7 kids and you make $15,000, then you qualify. I mean, that's current right now. And yeah, we ain't going to talk about the food that they feed them. You talking, Sebastian. So I get it, it's in writing. I'm willing to discuss it, but we're going to have to break it down piece by piece. So it's going to take us several shows to really get through it. But I'm telling you, most of what I read, and I was skimming through it. I was going to Jenna read, and I was like, okay, that's happening now, whatever. But most of what I read is currently being done. It's currently being done. And people are like, oh my God, they're going to do this, they're going to do that. But we'll talk about it. But to get back to this rally today, it's a very sad day in history. To me, this goes down as another extremely sad day in history. A life is lost. An innocent person that came to the rally, life is gone. I believe another one was hurt. The last I heard the news, and I want to say it grazed his ear, and it's not right. It's not fair. And everybody should have the opportunity to say whatever. If I want to say I hate green eggs and ham, nobody should be coming, beating me upside the head, trying to unalive me, or telling me to shut up because I say I like green eggs and ham. We say freedom of speech, but then when people freely speak, we want to condemn them. We're going to have a conversation. And like I said, if anybody come in this conversation with craziness, sideways, talking about somebody deserved it or this, that, and the other, they will get blocked. Because I'm not doing that. That's not what I'm here for. Not going to happen. We got to have a different conversation. We got to understand what this means for all of us. It's not a good day. It is horrible for all of us. Now, rallies to me will probably need to be enclosed. Everybody gets scanned like you're going through the airport. This is sad. Very sad day. If we get an opportunity and we can move on from the Trump rally conversation, my backstage is pretty light tonight, so we should be able to. I will talk about Nene Leakes and the boyfriend. And then we'll talk about Lindsay from The Bachelorette. She was ordered. She got to pay that husband, that estranged husband, right now. Right now, it's a temporary order. She got to pay him $13,000 a month. She got to pay. Now everything is definitely a business. Now you can almost trust no one but yourself. Well, you know, sometimes you can't even trust yourself because she's a whole lawyer and didn't get a prenup. Can't even trust yourself. That's why you got to have people that you know care about you. So when your eyes got the blinders on, they can speak to you and you listen. Well, increased matters. She going to have to pay that man, like you said. She got to pay. She going to pay. It is what it is. She got herself into this mess. But let's hope this. Let's hope she never walked down that road again. It's a hefty price to pay, but she's about to pay it. Listen, guys, please don't put craziness in my chat, guys. Watch your words in the chat. Listen, guys, y'all know what I need in that chat. I need a what? I need a choo choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Saturday night trending topics, and every now and then we got to do a heavy topic. And good gosh almighty, tonight part of this is a heavy topic. I appreciate you, Tay Tay. You know, we got to talk about this Trump rally in Philly and how scary it is, was, and how it is going to change the course of political history. Change it. It's very sad. Going to talk about Nene Leakes and his boyfriend. You know, dating can be a lot. Dating once you're over 50 is even different and more interesting. The best I could say to anybody out there, because listen, it don't matter if you have a dime, a nickel, or $1 million. We learned from J-Lo. It could be tricky for everybody. And then we got Lindsay from The Bachelorette, Lindsay Rachel. She paying that man his temporary spousal support. Let me go ahead and bring the people in the building. Hey, Leo.
Hey, Diva. I like green eggs and ham.
Come on now. Hey, Katrina.
Hello, y'all. Happy Saturday.
Happy Saturday. Hey, LaDon.
Hey, glad to be here.
I'm glad you're here. All right, guys, we do have some free space on the panel. If you never came through and thinking, oh, I just wanted to slide through and talk to these people, you got some room now. Click on the link and we'll welcome you in the building. So we'll go ahead and get into this, this Trump situation. Very sad. I couldn't believe it. Wayne actually, that comes up on the channel, he texted me and said, Diva, are you seeing what's going on? And I'm like, what are you talking about? And then I was like, OMG, this is so incredibly sad. I don't even know, like, I was shocked. I was just like this. I couldn't even believe it was real, to be honest with you. Now, Donald Trump, they saying he was powed and injured at the Pennsylvania rally, but this thing is like an ongoing update, right? He's fine, rushed to medical facility. Let's just see this little piece they have here. Everybody
see something that said, take a look at what happened. Oh.
What's sad is little kids were there. I've been watching like the news clippings and all of that. It's just very, very sad, right? So let me just go down. Footage is circulating online showing law enforcement dragging an individual out of the venue. Unclear if it is the person that did the pow, but I saw later stuff saying that they believe it was, okay? Candidate for a Senate seat in Pennsylvania, David McCormick, said during a Fox News interview that someone else in the crowd was hit and was given first aid. A spokesperson for the Secret Service has just tweeted about the incident, reiterating that Trump is safe. And then they are investigating the incident. Further info will be released when available. Elon Musk has tweeted out his endorsement for Trump following the powing, say he's the toughest president since Teddy Roosevelt, right? While some outlets are reporting that the pows came from inside the venue, others are saying that the weapon was actually longer range from outside the event. It's unclear exactly which is the case at this time. The White House has released a statement saying the former president is safe. Trump's communications director tells TMZ President Trump thanks law enforcement and first responders for their quick action during this heinous act. He is fine and is being checked at a local medical facility. More details will follow. Trump has been, at the Pennsylvania rally. The former president of the United States was given a rally in Butler, PA, when pops ring out through the crowd, causing confusion and screams to echo in the air. And there were children at this event. Watch the video. I don't want to watch the video again. They wrestled him down to the ground. They picked him up. They got him out of there. He did pump his fist in the air to kind of give the crowd an indication that, he was okay. So it's just a crazy situation. Oh my God, TMZ just reported a witness was ignored. Wow. Thank you for that, Sebastian. Wow, that's insanity. So saying that they could have probably, prevented this situation. That's what I'm getting from that, Sebastian. Leo, what are your thoughts on this whole situation, and what have you heard so far?
Yeah, I haven't heard anything more, no more than it was 2 people injured, 1 unalived, injuries to the former president, and that the person was on the perimeter of the facility and the Secret Service actually took the person out. I am very nervous about how the political landscape is going to be after this particular incident.
Mm-hmm.
The rhetoric and the hyper polarization, the pitch, the fever pitch of these elections, it's already been out of control. Now it's then tipped over to the next level. And I ain't gonna go to nobody rally. I wasn't gonna go in before, but I ain't going to nobody rally now. Because these people not good shots. They don't get the people they aiming for, and then they get the bystanders. So I just am just very fearful for the country and what is this getting ready to turn into, and what is it? And I don't know the answer, but I really would love to know what is it going to take to turn the temperature down on political rhetoric in these times where we all talk about mental health and mental health treatment and access to tools for mental health. How is it that politics has gotten people to a whole nother level that now this man probably won't even be able to do an outside venue anymore? Right. Most of his rallies most likely gonna have to be on the inside.
Yeah.
He used to, in my community where I live at, when he comes here, he goes at the airport hangar and have, roll in on his jet, do his rally, and roll right on out on the jet. And it's all outside in the open. I just and I'm hoping that all the other political candidates take heed that we living in a different time, in a different era. And I was around because this, like I told you backstage, this reminded me of when Reagan's attempted assassination. I was alive then, and I can remember how unique it felt like that this type of thing would happen. And I feel that same energy now. And I thought that they had stepped up the Secret Service and all the things, and obviously not. It even looked like to me in the clips, it took the Secret Service a minute to even get to the man. It took a few extra seconds that I would like.
I agree with you on that. Why wasn't they standing next to them, especially if they was hearing that this could possibly happen in the first place? Why wasn't it closer?
I mean, it was several shots before anybody moved into this man's direction. He had good enough sense to duck down, but it was several seconds before anybody surrounded him. He was basically on his own for way too long for somebody to have protection, in my opinion. I just, I'm still processing it, just like everybody else. I do feel like this will galvanize his supporters, especially with him pumping his fist and letting everybody know, I'm a strong MFer. I still got it going on. Don't believe the hype. I'm still here. And he's going to ride a very big political wave on this incident.
Yeah. I think that part of what can help, Leo, and I know this is unprecedented, but I think part of what can help is that Trump and Biden come together for the greater good. Now, I know, that seems so crazy and far-fetched, but I always wish with all the candidates, no matter if it's a local election or, it's, the big one, like who's going to be president or whatever the case may be, that they debate without, calling each other names, right? If there's an agenda we want to talk about, Leo, you talk about how you think you're going to fix it. I talk about how I think I'm going to fix it without directly just constantly throwing shots at you. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? I feel like it is so bad now that they need to, for the greater good, come together and say, let's neutralize this thing. And why don't y'all, the people, start thinking about our policies and what we want to do versus trying to, have all this unrest in the world. And people are just, right now, people are just saying, everything, reason why they say they want Biden over Trump or Trump over Biden, it has nothing to do with policies.
Policies. That's what I was getting ready to say. Policies.
It has
And
nothing to do with that.
I feel like that is a great idea for them to come together. President Biden did do a small press conference where he said he called and he tried to get in touch with his people, and he didn't call, MAGA or nothing like that. He said Donald, like he know the man. For real. He said, I tried to talk to Donald to see if he all right, to let him know that this is unacceptable. And I think that's a great first step in trying to speak with him personally to convey his own camaraderie with this need to be a nonviolent campaign. And I think that that's crucial, and it would be good if they could come together. But that would be a great, at least Joe Biden put forth the olive branch, and I like it.
I like it too. I agree with you. That was big. That was big. And like you said, he said Donald. Okay. Katrina, you're up.
Condolences to the family member that was taken out with the pow. That's good of Biden, because when Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked, he got ridiculed. So let's just go to show you how Biden is. And like we said, nobody go to these rallies to be unalived. I hope not. And for this country to be so unrest and not coming together, instead we pulling each other apart more and more every day. It's something every day, and nothing is getting solved. And this is the type, I'm not going off on this, but he be exciting stuff like this at his rallies. And I know people might disagree with what I'm saying, but he does. But the thing of it is, he made it out of it. And maybe he'll do another rally later on if his ears and stuff is okay. Maybe he'll come back out and do the rest of his rally whatsoever. But sometimes you have to be careful on the energies that you put out, because those energies can come back. And I just hope they get to the point where they do this political thing together and stop all this chaos and all this racism and all this hate against each other. That's all I got, Diva.
Okay, thank you. Everybody, please hit that like button. Thank you, Task for being here. Where am I at? Hold on one second, guys. Tony M, you're in the building. Your thoughts on this subject. Everybody, please watch your words when you talk and in the chat.
Yes. Diva?
Yes, I'm here. I can hear you.
It's good to see you again.
Good to see you.
I don't condone gun violence or
say pow pow. Say pow pow.
Mistreatment of others during the political process. But what we just saw is very disturbing. It hasn't happened since Ronald Reagan in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter how you feel about Donald Trump, at the end of the day, I just want to say we should never advocate for our enemy or perceived enemy to be, treated this way. All right. In the end, and I'm going to throw a little bit of religion in here. God is the ultimate judge. That's all I wanted to say.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Tony. Ladom. Ladom, are you there? You kind of came off of there. You
Hello, can you hear me
yes,
now?
yes, I can.
Okay. I do agree with everyone on the panel, but except for one thing, Donald Trump's personality. I don't think he's going to slow down one bit. I have a feeling we're going to hear from him tomorrow. Okay. And he's going to, I hate to say this, he's going to you know, roll with the punches with this whole thing. He's going to take this to his advantage. Okay. Because that's his personality. I mean, from what I see, that's the man's personality. So he's going to take it and run with it. Okay. He, first thing he did was pump his fist. Like, hey, the strong survives. I'm strong and everything like that, right? And like he's gonna come out, to for his well, I would say followers. He's gonna have to show that. And he's gonna run with it. Okay? He's gonna be graceful, since Biden said, okay, reached out to him. He's gonna be graceful, but that's not gonna stop his personality. This will not change his personality. Because if it did, he wouldn't have just started fist pumping the way he did. Okay. If he would have been a little calmer, a little more afraid or whatsoever. But I didn't see that in Trump at all. And that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. It's a lot. Yeah, I could say that. It's a lot. I think part of it is he wanted his people to know, like, I'm good, I'm okay, I'm all right. But no matter what, I will say, Secret Service, get your act together. Get your act together, because I felt like it was happening in slow motion.
Mm-hmm.
His personality is built on resilience for sure. That is who he is, and it doesn't seem like this is going to change who he is, right? Listen, even when that man had caught COVID, I was like, I was like, this man is really sick. And it seemed like he left the hospital and was like, it is what it is. So that is definitely his personality. But something has got to be done, because now I think like every rally is going to have to be like, I'm rallying, and I'm on you, and you, the people at the rally, and I'm on a teleprompter.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on a teleprompter because it's just crazy. Go ahead, Ladon.
Was I wrong, or he ducked before the Secret Service got to him?
Yeah, he had time to duck because
He
this is
ducked. Exactly.
him.
He ducked before they even got to him. Usually they're like, bowling him over, president over. But this man had enough, said, oh, snap, my ear is bleeding. And then he ducked. He like took care of himself.
Pretty much.
Yes. So I got to give him a couple of points for that.
Well,
That
you
was
can give
good.
him a few snaps on that. You can give him a few snaps on that, but actually the candidates are trained to do that. So he's been in the public sphere for 8 years. So he knows that the Secret Service trained him to do that. And when he caught that clip on the ear, he knew it was really going down. We give him 5 snaps on that.
Okay.
That's right. For one thing, Leo, you think that Biden would have done the same thing the way Biden is now?
I don't think so.
There
I
you
don't
go.
think so.
There you go.
I don't think so.
That's my
He'd have
point
been a
right there.
goner.
Yeah.
Yep.
Fortunately, yeah. I think that too. Unfortunately, yeah. This is sad and crazy times, and you are right. Thanks for putting that information out there, Leo. You are right. This is sad and crazy times where something like this is actually happening. We should have evolved because they had enough political figures that got hurt in this way that they should be more involved than they are in terms of protecting these candidates. They really should. This is just extremely sad. And I do think it's going to change, the course of things. Now, this I want to say too. I think what can also help lead us down the right road and in the right direction. We need all of these people, like the news, CNN, all of them, to start talking differently too. To start talking differently. And I'm not saying talk differently towards any candidate, talk differently in general and say, people, we have got to calm down. Violence is not the answer. We're not going to be able to have these rallies if y'all going to come there and be acting like this. It needs more to happen, and we need to move away from this low level conversation of, if somebody pooping their pants, I'll still vote for them. He could be in jail and I'll still vote for him. Like, it's stupid, right? And so then that's why in that Project 25, when they talk about education, well, you see where education got us, because a lot of these people that are talking this way, they're educated people. They're educated people. And this is how they're talking. And they should be the ones that say, hey, listen, I know these are the options we got, but this is how we should approach this messy situation. Help the people level up. You have a responsibility when you have a platform that reaches thousands or millions of people. You got to begin to level up the conversation so that the other people can level up the conversation also. That's why I came here and I said, you got to set the stage. I set the stage. We're not about to do this, oh, somebody deserved it, that's what they get, and all of that. No, we're going to take this up a couple of levels, and we're not going there. No one deserves this. Everybody has the right to freedom of speech. Yeah, come on, Brittany. We need fair and balanced reporting. It starts with them too. Because you got The View, you're reaching millions or thousands of people per day, and y'all supposed to have the viewers are not supposed to be a gossip talk show. They need to level up. Level up. They are in the gutter with the gossip and the rhetoric. And then we expect
Can I say something, Diva?
Yes, you can. Once let me get this last word out. Then you get people who you want them to level up their conversation, but what they're hearing everything. One time I heard a person say garbage in, garbage out. Go ahead, Leo.
It is garbage in, garbage out, but I will encourage the people on the line, in the chat, to reach out further than just CNN, MSNBC, or Fox. Dig deeper. The American public in general, not the people that I know, but just in general, are extremely lazy. Just like you asked the question, how many pages in the chat, let us know how many pages is in the Project 2025. Okay, it's 900 some pages, and I get that. And that's because your audience and your subscribers and the people that tune into you educate themselves on these things. But as I talk to regular folks and regular people, they only know the headlines. They are not deeply involved locally in what's going on, nor are they educated low information voters and people. And I encourage everyone to step up in your education of what's going on politically and in policies that affect you. Because actually, the fact that you ride down your regular road, that you come out of your apartment or your home, or when you leave your job, the speed limit is based on a policy that your council people and your commissioners decided to put that into the DOT to have that road speed to be the way that it is. And there was a discussion that happened that you were not present to that made that decision. So everyday things that you are upset about or things that you agree with, your civil participation is important. And you cannot rely on mainstream media to give you the information. Of course, they need to do better. Of course, they need to stop trying to do the Wendy Williams show. Stop doing all this commentary and all this other kind of stuff. But there are places you can go. There's NPR, National Public Radio, that don't have no slant. You just have to listen to the policy. There are different places that you can go to get information that does not have the media slant, and they don't have to get ratings to be able to give you the news.
You better tell it, Leo. I agree with you 100%. Special K, the people behind the stage wasn't ducking either. I think that connects to the thought that Leo said, that these candidates are taught how to duck and partially protect themselves just in case, the Secret Service or whoever don't get to them quick enough. And I think that everybody in the audience, they was kind of shocked. They didn't know what was going on. They didn't know what was going on. They was in shock. And then that's when people started looking. It was like, oh my God. And they saw him duck and they saw him down, and then maybe perhaps they saw some blood. So I don't think they knew what was going on. So Stacey, you saying the View is an opinion show, is not a newscast. The View is an opinion show. But if you go back to the Barbara Walters time, it was not as these shenanigans the way they are now. I live in Jersey. I'm originally from New York, and I'm a talk show queen. And I've been to the View back when Barbara Walters was still there. Barbara Walters ran a tight ship. Even if you could get to, I don't know if it perhaps maybe on YouTube, catch a Barbara Walters View. It was not the way it is now. It is not the way it is now. It's totally, totally different now. And even the chaos, they have of talking over each other. All of that did not go on when Barbara Walters was running the View. And then after Barbara Walters, what is the other girl? There was someone else who ran it after Barbara Walters. The name was
Meredith Vieira.
Yep. It was still a little more serious when she was there. And then after they were kind of ushered out the building, so did the organization and everything else. But Leo, connecting with you 100%. 100%. And I know who you're talking to. We're on the same road. We on the same road. And I get what you're saying too. But I feel like, the news, they always throw out a lot of chaos, right? Even when it came to COVID. So they have the ability to direct a thought process, right? And we know what they usually do. We know how they have their agendas, because there are certain news stations, what they stand behind, right? Even if they don't say it, right? Because you could just tell by listening to them or whatever. So all I'm saying is, they have the ability to change your thought process, and they need to help get this thing back on track, because it's getting messy, and I don't want anyone to get hurt. And then above all of that, what I really, really, really want is, I want for us to have the opportunity to just have a good debate and have the best candidate out of the choices we have enter into the building without there being chaos. I also want to say this, and hey, E, and I'm going to let you speak, E, after I say this. What also scares me, and I never tell anybody which way to vote and how to vote, that's your business, right? But what also scares me is, we already saw that, how can I say this? He's kind of a sore loser, right? Because we saw what happened last time. I'm afraid it's scary. I'll just say that. E, you're up. Can you hear us, E?
Again, I didn't know it would be my turn so quickly. I missed the beginning part. So I'm assuming you guys are talking about the video that's floating around of the alleged pow pow, correct?
Right, we are. And just the whole
Um
politics in general and the state that we're currently in.
um I think a lot of people already knew that it would come to something like this. When I was looking in the comments on social media, um, I saw people saying, "Okay, so what's for dinner?" I think people are not really, at least the people who I saw, are
Hmm.
not really. Dis- mm, I don't know how to say it in a nice way. That's why I was hoping I would have a chance to catch my wording. I don't think that. I don't know how to say that. Ooh, diva, skip me.
Politics is your thing. I want you to pull your wording together, right? Because I would like to hear from you, and I'm about to move into the next story, but I do want you to try to
So,
put your words together. But go ahead.
so you know, I think people are 50-50. Some people are saying, this was staged. Some people, of course, believe this is real. Some people were taken aback by the way that the audience responded. But one thing I was very clear about, and one thing that caught my attention, is when the Secret Service hovered around him. To kind of safeguard him and protect him, he said, "No, wait." And then he looked to the crowd, he reached up his fist, and he mouthed something. And from what I was able to make out, I thought he mouthed fight back or fight or something, but that fist and the fact that it seemingly appears that there was an attack upon him, I feel like that fuels his base even more, especially because just last night or the night before, wasn't it Amber Rose who came out and said, I'm voting for him because he reminds me of an alpha male. When I look at him, I know that I'm going to be protected and provided for. And then not even 2 days later, we have this foolishness. And then I don't know. I can understand why people would take it as a publicity stunt, but then I don't, I that's why I said I need more time. but
Yeah,
I,
you
I,
should
I,
take time because we're actually going to have a conversation about Project 2025. Not tonight. I got to figure out the way to break this down. Miss Rock, Rocky, or 109. I did mention Fox News. And I'm not just picking on the View. The View just came up in my head, right? And see, I think that's a lot of times when we have conversations, we get stuck on pieces of what people say, right? um and it's like, don't get stuck on the pieces, stay connected to the entire conversation. This thing is a tragedy all the way around, just all the way around. And what I'm saying is that those individuals have large platforms. I believe, I thought when I said it, I said ABC, NBC. If I didn't, I meant all of them. So it really don't matter. But these people have a greater platform than any of us could, and they do have the power. I'll give me 1 second, E. They do have the power to redirect a conversation. They really do. E, go ahead.
Somebody put it in the comments that people were injured and people had passed. I had not seen those reports
Yeah,
yet,
they
so I
have.
do.
Yeah.
I apologize. I am late to the party, so I can see how that can be insensitive to keep perpetuating that was something staged when no, this is a real thing and people have lost their lives. So my condolences on that front. But I do think he does need to take some responsibility. The onus is on him a little bit because this is not the first time violence has occurred at one of his rallies. Maybe this is the first time it's happened to this extent, but he is known for having rallies that get towards the violent side. And when he uses the rhetoric that he uses, oh, if I don't win, it's going to be you know what he said. You're putting the stamp of approval that you're putting your stamp of approval on people behaving badly when things don't go their way. So when things erupt, um, at your organizations or your functions that align with bad behavior, you are supposed to be the leader. So this is on him, I would say as well. I know he's not the one that pulled the trigger, but he has perpetuated a motto of violence, retaliation, and just using fear mongering to rile up his base. And so it's coming full circle. So I think that needs to be talked about more as well. But that's my time.
Yeah, I'm hoping that this unfortunate situation changes the way that he perhaps do things. I don't know. Time will tell. And maybe the time will be less than 24 hours because I think it was Adonis said he's probably going to be right back out tomorrow. Diva,
I'm sorry, Diva, but I just
give me 1 second, Katrina. Diva, where you do Project 25 by chapters, even the chapters are long and manual. I have to figure out. I've been really trying to. I did spend part of my day today trying to figure out how we can break this down. Especially because I think a lot that's being put out there initially, like people are highlighting like certain parts of it, and the whole agenda that they speak about is like that big, and then people take it and they highlight 3 sentences, and but all the stuff before it matters as part of those sentences. So I got to figure out what's the best way that we could break this down. Give us summary of each chapter. We're gonna have to chat, Diva. Yeah, okay, we'll chat, Sebastian. But we do need to talk about it because it is a lot to talk about, and it is a lot in there. One of my focus, the one that I really read fully and got through fully, the rest I did pieces of it. I have to go back and look more because, like I said, it's 922 pages. Okay. But the part I did read fully first was social services part. Really, I'm gonna break it down like that. And honestly, a lot of what they're saying in there is true. These people are not being helped. It's the concept that goes back to the Bible. And again, I'm not telling anybody what to believe in, but the concept of if you teach a man to fish, he'll eat for life. You give him fish, he's going to eat for the day. That's what that section is kind of about. But anyway, who wanted to speak? Katrina, go ahead.
The only thing I'm gonna say, Diva, and I'm not talking about anybody else's mind. I'm just talking about mine. With me, everywhere this man goes, chaos follows. He did a rally in Alabama. Folks were down there fighting at the boat. And the reason why I can't respect him, I cannot respect anybody that said the people that join the militaries are suckers and losers. I was in the military. I'm not a dang sucker or a loser. My husband was a master sergeant. He wasn't a sucker or a loser. I have kids in the military. They're not suckers or losers. But you couldn't go because you had bone spurs. So anybody but we're the ones, or they're the ones that's trying to protect the country. They try to have to protect you. But you calling them suckers and losers. I cannot get behind anybody that will say something that crazy. I'm sorry. To each his own. I'm not going on nobody's vote. I'm not telling nobody what to vote. I'm not telling nobody what to say. I'm just saying in general. How can you respect your military when you a felon? You can't even join the military. That's all.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Katrina. Nene Scott, she said you can Google Project 25, but see, Nene, you want to know what the problem is? Nobody's actually Googling and reading it. People are taking portions of it and they're saying things and they're inciting the people. And I promise you that most people did not go through that 922 pages. They did not. Because, and I could tell by the conversations. Because the people like, oh my God, the school lunches. Oh my God, the social services. But, I said to somebody the other day, I said, it's funny how when they talk about taking away social services, y'all getting riled up. But then when there's conversations about who gets social services, you said 99.9% of the people that get it is not us. So then what you emotional about? But if you go to about the free lunch and who gets lunch in the first place, that's a whole nother conversation in and of itself too, right? Who gets these lunches? Because I'm telling you, even when you go to fill out financial aid, when you go to get these different services, they was never set up for the most part to be given to people who look like me, right? So, but that's a whole nother story in and of itself. I think it's a conversation to be had, and I think it would be good for us to actually sit there and go through it so that people can let go of the rhetoric that's being pumped out there and take what is written for what it is and have us dissect it and really talk about it. I have a friend. When I went on vacation the other day, my girlfriend's friend, she does real estate, right? And she says Section 8 is like the death of our people. She looked like me. She says Section 8 is the death of our people. Why? Let me tell you a little bit something about Section 8 and how they keep you in that program, right? So Section 8, you can only make but so much money in order to get it in the first place, right? And then when you go to move, you still have to do like the regular folk do. You have to come up with, if this particular place wants a month and a half of security, rent, whatever they call all of that whole bundle package that they need before you can move in, right? The way rent is now, by the time you come up with that money, and if you are using a realtor or a real estate agent to find you a place, you're about $8,000 to get into an apartment. Low end, you coming up with $8,000 to get into an apartment. $8,000, right? $8,000, you could buy a condo, you could buy a house. And they keep you in that vicious cycle because there you make $1 over this, and then all of a sudden they're going to raise up your money and all of that, right? On how much you got to pay, or you might even lose it. Listen, and let me tell you something. There's a lot that we need to talk about. There's conversations that we need to have, and it needs to be an understanding amongst the people that you're going to stay at a certain level if you don't wake up. Focus on Project 2025, and I'm not saying don't focus on it, but we'll focus on it. But when I read it, most of the stuff that is in there, it is already happening. It's already happening.
May I say something?
Of course you can.
Okay, I don't know what rock I just crawled out from under, but this is the first time I'm hearing about Project 2025. And I read some of the comments about the school lunches, powdered eggs, and stuff like that. And I'm like, why are they giving citizens of this country a hard time when you can invite all these people that's coming in here legally, illegally, whatever, right? Giving them in New York, right? They give them the little card so they can have their money because the food might, they don't like the food. They're is is a waste of money because it rots. I mean, we're supporting everybody in the world. The guy from Ukraine, the president from Ukraine, he's entitled to get his money. He acts that way. Israel will helping out Israel, but we're still talking about something called a Project 2025. Are you serious? I mean, come on here. We're helping everybody else except for our own. Okay, and I don't understand it. But I will be reading the Project 2025. Okay? Because things like that just burn my biscuits, and it just upset me. It really does. I mean, I hate to get political or anything like that, but the truth is the truth. There's too many of us that need help out here. And yeah, okay, some people that's on Section 8. I mean, like it's a catch-22. If you gotta be in this income level, but if you make too much, I mean, how you gonna have you only allowed to make so much money, but yet you can put away about $8,000. It's almost impossible unless you know how to scheme on the system. I mean, if you do everything the way you're supposed to, there's no way in the world you can save $8,000 and still be on Section 8, because if you make that much, you don't need to be on Section 8 by their guidelines. I mean, that's what I think. I'm not a real estate agent,
Yeah,
but
right.
it's
Excuse me,
really
Diva.
sad, you know.
But hold on, let her finish speaking. Yeah, but you know what though? Just like everybody else, they come up with it. But you know how they come up with it? So sometimes it's the tax income check refund. It's a vicious cycle. But TM Christian, I needed to bring this comment up. Don't just read it, comprehend it. You took the words out of my mouth. Don't just read it, comprehend it.
Mm.
They also talk in there, something about what you touch on all the time. They talk about the reading level. And they actually they cut it down. Instead of 8th grade, they said 4th grade level. You got to read it. It's in there. It's in there. Who wanted to say something before I move on from this conversation?
Diva.
One more thing, Diva. I'm gonna say this about the welfare system. Okay, and just rock with me here just a second. The welfare system is not about aiding the people. The welfare system is there to keep the people who are in power strategically for political ends. And when I say the welfare system, I'm talking about Section 8, EBT, free lunch, all the things that incorporate Medicaid, all those things, Medicare. It is all to make sure. There's a saying, and I think it's a Machiavellian saying, that if poor people eat, you don't have to worry about them uprising on you.
Facts.
So they can get rid of all these programs, and they don't even really benefit, brown people like me. But those who thought that their white persuasion kept them better than, when they get rid of these programs, there are going to be the ones that's going to rise up against the government, and it's already happening. So it is strategic that these programs are in place to keep the wealthy and the elite in power. It is not because they give a damn about poor people. And we will have this conversation, and I can get deeper in it at another time, but I'm just putting that in for food for thought.
Food for thought. You are absolutely right. But see, here's the thing, even when it comes to schooling. So let me just throw this in there. And then I think, Tony, you want to speak. Let me just throw this in there. So if you, first of all, everything is systematic, right? Everything is to hold you exactly where they want to hold you. That's why a long time ago, somebody decided if you live on 123 Street, you can only send your kids to a school that is in 123 Street or somewhere in the vicinity. You cannot send your kid to the school over in 2 towns over or 3 towns over that you feel is better. No. So right there, they put us in a system, right? They put us in the class. But, again, I go back to TM Christian. It's about comprehending stuff, right? But if you decide, and if you happen to have the money, right, and you send your kid to a Catholic school, a private school, whatever, the taxes that you pay that goes towards that public school, when it comes tax time, you get that money back, right? Also, you get a check. If your kid, has to be bused or whatever, you get a check every quarter or every whatever with the season that you would have paid for your kid to be on the public school bus. You would get that money back. So why am I saying this? I'm saying this. They want to play games. We got to play the game better. They want to play checkers. We got to play chess. I bet you, if everybody will find somehow the money, since y'all want to tell me where my kid got to go, I got to keep my kid in a felon school, this, that, and the other. If everybody somehow found the money to send their kid to either a private school, a Catholic school, or whatever, I bet you they change those rules. I bet you they changed those rules because you would shut the public school system down. So I'm saying that to say that everything they put in place to hold us down and hold us back, if we find the opposing way to shut them down, change would have to happen. Just like if you go way back when the people decided, oh, we can't sit anywhere on the bus, we ain't taking the bus, and they shut that system down and change came about. Change can happen, but we got to comprehend exactly what is going on. And we don't fight them with the yelling and the this and the that or the whatever. And we really don't even have to fight them with the votes, because they can play around with the votes when they want to. They will always put, come on now, Sebastian. Come on now. Come on now. Because normally, if I live on block 123, 9 times out of 10, the most people that's going to live on block 123 is going to look like me. And they probably have the same economical bracket as I do. Right? So all I'm saying is if we rise up, we level up our thinking, and we start to find the opposing thing to block what they're trying to do, we will shut their agenda down. But who wanted to speak real quick?
Me, Diva.
Go ahead.
Thank you, Diva. What you just said, and if you read the proposal for Project 25, which I have, Project 25 is designed to decodify the Civil Rights Act. That's what it's all about. It's designed to, once Trump is in office, he can then say, I've done an official act. The U.S. Supreme Court just made that broad ruling, which would allow for Project 25 to be an official act that would decodify the 1964 Civil Rights Act. That's what's going to happen next. And then people are going to be in uproar. So now is the time to see what the Republicans are proposing and to vote against them at the voting. This is how you play the game better. That's all.
Thank you. So I said the other day, someone said they mentioned Project 25 and they said, oh, something about slavery again. I told the people, I don't like to talk politics, but I know politics and I do politics, right? And I told them it will never happen. It will never happen because the people are built different now. And y'all know my conversation from the beginning of this live. Today, what happened shows you these people are built different. And unfortunately, they're built with a lot of violence in them. So Project 25 can say what it want to say. But I'm telling you that a lot of this that they're proposing, it won't happen. It won't go down that easy. It's not going to happen. It will be so much unrest. And that's why I'm saying that it has to be dissected. The people need to level up. People got to start using their thinking skills. And you got to figure out a way to circumvent the system. Now, in this Project 2025, they talk about the family too. And I hate to say this, but we got to be honest. Sometimes the truth hurts, right? And they talk about the family, and they talk about just fatherless homes, and they're talking about the disillusion of family, period, right? Let's be clear. It is problematic what you got, like, and I'm just using these names, everybody, for examples. What you got with the Nick Cannon is doing. You have all of these children and what I think is 6 or 7 different baby mothers. You have, I did this story the other day on that NFL player. He thought it was a joke. I think I got about 10 kids. This is part of the problem. And yes, if you look at historically, people that don't have a family unit, you do have a lot of depression. You do have a lot of them looking out in the streets. You do have a lot of them turning to substances and all of that. And it's hard to hear. But the truth is the truth. And when you're a single parent home, and I'm not judging anybody because I was a single parent home, you have to struggle harder to make sure that your child or your children do not fall through the cracks. It's a battle. It's a battle. Even if you take it to the simple things, you're at work, your kid gets out of school at 2, 3 o'clock. I don't know too many jobs where you get off maybe at 1 o'clock and can be home for your kid. So now your kid got to perhaps go to aftercare. It's a lot.
Can I say?
Yes, you can.
So I hear you, and I understand what you're saying. I think why it doesn't offer as much comfort as I would like it to is because a lot of things that we have that they said would not be taken away, they have. And I've talked about it before with the Roe v. Wade thing. And then I saw something talking about they want to ban contraceptives altogether. And so, you know, there's a lot of things that we can say should not happen and will not, but they have stacked the deck so that they can make it possible to make it happen. Because the way that Supreme Court looks is not by accident. It's on purpose. And they put those particular people in place on purpose for a lifetime. And the reason why they have crafted this Project 2025, and it's the people who worked with Trump previously, is because last time he was in office, it was such chaos. He had the wrong people in the wrong position. They were ill qualified and they turned on him. So now this time he says, okay, I only want loyalists. They're taking applications right now because they want to infiltrate these key departments, because within the first 180 days, they want to infiltrate and tear them apart. And so yes, it seems unrealistic, like it could never happen, but it can. It can. And even if we were to provide so much unrest, he could call in the National Guards and send us all back in the house like they did in COVID, because nobody ever saw that coming. No one ever thought that the United States would be shut down, so much so that gas prices will be almost $2 even, because nobody was on the road. Everybody was in the house and people weren't paying their rent. It's so much that took place. And I think that when we say that it can't happen, we minimize the realness of it, that it can happen. We can. I want, for me, I speak for me. I have to operate under the guise of never say never, because with the people who they have in there, we don't know what they're going to do. They could do anything. The world can change in the blink of an eye.
That's either way though, right? So what I'm saying to you is, when I say I'm trying to, because this is YouTube, right? When I'm saying it won't happen the way they think it's going to happen, because look at what happened today.
Oh, but even if you take him out, the organization, the foundation, the plan is already in motion. They don't need Trump to make Project 2025 happen, because Trump didn't write it.
But what I'm saying is, if you read it, stuff in there is happening now and he's not in office. So see, that's why I'm saying with the comprehension of it all. People are saying, what I'm saying is, and when I said can't happen, I said slavery, right? I didn't say this whole Project 2025, because if you heard me in the beginning, I said stuff that is being said in Project 2025 is already happening. So what I said is not going to happen with slavery. So that's what
I'm not sure.
So I want to
sure.
Okay, that's fine, but I want to be clear as to what I said. I didn't say that whole Project 2025 is not happening, because my beginning commentary, I said, if you read Project 2025, come on, TM Christian, I said it's already happening. It's already happening. He's not even in office. So people are saying if he gets in, I'm telling you that if you read this thing, stuff in there is already happening.
But
they
it's already
to put it in writing. And now that they put it in writing, everyone's in an uproar. But this stuff is already happening and has been already happening. So I also want to say, when it comes to the education, education has gotten a F for decades now, and no one cared. It started back when they said no child left behind. So I get it. That's why I don't like to have these conversations, because people want to act like this is something new. No, this started way back. Wait, give me a minute. This started way back when they said no child left behind. I'm going to give you my opinion on this situation. A lot of this is a result of, come on, Emmanuel. A lot of this is a result of the way that, and it's really a lot of Black women have left, come on now, have leveled up to the point where we have leveled out. Give me a minute. We have leveled out the playing field, right?
That's the first thing that
Tony, give me a minute. They have leveled out the playing field where we have gotten educated. We run our own businesses now, and we have a lot of money. So when they decided to reverse Roe versus Wade, it was to slow down the agenda of these females that have been rising to the top. Because now, if you wake up pregnant, you got to have that baby. And so if you have that baby, I can slow down any education you're trying to do. I can slow down you trying to run a business. I can slow down you trying to rise to the top. And proof that that has been happening is the fact that a lot of women now, they need IVF because they're waiting to have families later in life. Listen, I can go on and on about this. We perhaps are all on the same road, but my page is different, because I'm telling you, as I read this thing, I'm like, well, that's already happening. This is already happening. That's already happening. And it's not a recent happening. It's been happening already for decades. But just like, I'm going to use the analogy of Diddy, Cassie said XYZ happened to her. People were kind of lukewarm to it, like they believed it, but you know what? Seeing is believing more. When the video came out, now all of a sudden people are extra outraged with Diddy, and they're like, oh my God, so forth and so on, because they physically saw it. I'm saying that people now, because they're physically seeing this in writing, they're like, oh my God, this is going to happen. We're about to lose this. We're about to lose that. We're going to have this. We're going to have that. And I guess because it's now in writing, they're outraged. But if you really read this thing, all of this has already been happening.
But that's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying that this is new outrage, because there are people who have been following, who have been outraged all along. There are people who have been speaking up about the education system all along. What has been going on in Florida and Texas as far as this banning of the teaching of the African American history, when they stopped teaching children how to write in cursive, when we saw the math scores, when we saw the reading scores, that's not new. But see, we have all of these people jumping to, okay, I'm going to vote conservative. You just said the No Child Left Behind, Bush did it. If Bush did that, why are we? It's not anything that has not been in the works. But the thing is, now it's blatant, it's over the top, and now it's coming so fast. And now the people who did not think it was a big deal, now they're beginning to snap out of it. But everybody has not been asleep this whole time. And to suggest that the problem is the single, and I know you didn't say this because I read that and I saw that in that project as well, that the single parent homes, the single mother homes. And I think that it doesn't take into account that, because I know some white women, I work with them, who have white husbands who are abusive to them.
Okay, I don't want to go down this road, E. I'm sorry. I respectfully, I don't want to go down the white versus black.
It's black and white.
Hold on one second. I just don't want to do that. But I want to also say this. You know, people saying take the Black history out of the schools. Can someone honestly tell me how much Black history really was in the schools?
You're asking me to tell you that?
Somebody tell me. Besides them telling us about Rosa Parks, Martin Luther King Jr., and they mentioned what's his name? The name is slipping my mind right now. I honestly and respectfully,
Frederick Douglass.
Frederick Douglass. How much Black history was really in the school?
Now, Diva, you know I adore you to pieces, but I was just in the process.
Go ahead, talk to me.
I was just in the process of saying, because I was in the process of giving my point. You told me we weren't going to do color, and then we talking about Black history.
No,
We
but
are.
you just because you said no. When I say color of saying oh I know white people that don't their kids don't this that
Yeah,
that.
but I wanted to take that off of the table.
No, I'm talking about everybody was in an uproar of, oh my God, they want to take Black history out of the school. They want to take the African American studies out of the school. And I'm saying, respectfully so, how much Black history was in the school? Listen, I don't went to the community college. This is after high school. I went to the community college. I went to the university. I did my master's degree and I went through whatever the grade school and all that. I've never had that much Black history in the school. Never.
Well, some is better than none. But I think that when we have these bullets, I think a lot of them can turn into deep dives. And so when we weren't getting that much anyway, when they made Black History the shortest month out of the 12 months, that was already minimal. I give you that. But to even take that away and say, no, we're not doing that, they're taking away the knowledge that kids should have, even though they're not getting that much of it anyway. And so I'm gonna leave it there because I know you want to do your panel.
No, you're fine because I'm probably gonna have to remove these other stories and get to them another day. Come on, if we speak in facts, it was minimal. It was minimal.
So
Saturday.
does that mean it's okay? Does
No, no,
that
no,
mean it's
no, no,
okay
no,
that
no, 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 no. E. My point is, hold on one second. Saturday, we can't rely on schools teaching your children everything, learning. No. And I'm not saying that we can. My point to everyone is people, they throw smoke screens at us. People get in an uproar and they're like, oh my God, this is so horrible. This is so bad. And I ask again, how much Black history was in the school to begin with?
well,
And
I don't feel
that is not me saying they should take it away. That is me saying there wasn't even that much to begin with. If you can tell me how much Black history you learned when you was in school, please tell me how much it was. I would love to know. Let me tell you this. This is another fact. And I'm telling you this is a fact because history is history, right? They teach us history in grade school. We have to learn the same history in high school. Then we have to learn the same history in college. They don't teach us nothing new. It's all the same books, and the same books get updated a smidget every year. And the smidget is they add the next president, right? And they make it a new edition. And they make the new edition. Why? Because it's all about money so that you can pay for it. But at the end of the day, right? Math is math, science is science, history is history. What new history do you really add? And I'm telling you, out of all the schooling I
what?
did, it was Rosa Parks, it was Martin Luther King Jr., and a few others. I can't even remember now. But go ahead,
What do
E.
you what do you
Eli
mean there's no new
Whitney. It
history?
was Eli Whitney, George Washington Carver, Booker T. Washington. It was Edgar Morgan's, the man that did the traffic lights. It was Harry Tubman. Um,
Right,
it
but what I'm
was
saying, Katrina, is how that
Okay.
they really expand on that. They told they told you the very bad basics about that. They didn't get into a high level detail. Yes, Chanel and Malcolm X. That's the name that I was trying to get to my name. I didn't learn about Madam C.J. Walker in school. If I did, I don't remember it.
Diva?
Yes.
Hello, Diva?
Yes, I'm here.
Yeah. Real quickly, my godmother at the age of 10 got me an African American history book. And I just want to advocate, starting in the home, you have to educate yourself, because like you, I only learned about Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Frederick Douglass. That was about the extent. All right. And I learned not the true history and the true abuse of slavery. That was not really taught. It was kind of glossed over, as a bad thing, but we got past it, And the Civil Rights Act, oh, that was a bad thing, but look at where we're at today. We got past it.
That part.
Yeah. So again, that's how I was taught. But my godmother, who lived to be 103, gave me a book when I was 10 years old, and I learned more and more about the who's who of Black people, famous Black people in the sciences, the arts, the education, politics, even the first Black senator, U.S. senator in 1969. Things that were kind of lost and forgotten. Shirley Chisholm, from Brooklyn, who ran for president, the first Black woman to run for U.S. president. These are things that I was never taught in school, but my godmother made sure that I was taught these things. And we are just going to have to encourage families to do what the schools don't do, and that is teach African American history, especially during February. I always make it a point to learn every single day for 28 days something new that I didn't know about a famous Black person who existed before me. And you learn so much history and a wealth of history. If you know your history, you have a better knowledge of yourself, and you can look the enemy in the eye and said, no, we were here once before too, and we achieved in this field, in the sciences, or in medicine, for example, Dr. Charles Drew, who discovered, I think he separated blood in plasma. All right, so these are things that are not taught, but if you educate yourself, you become more armed.
Yeah, but Tony, so that's my point, though. You said these are things that are not taught. So a lot of Black history, though, they hid from us who really did what. So that's also proof that there's not that much Black history being taught in the schools anyway, because you got people now digging up the truth about what Blacks did in history. And some of this is recent of it coming out. So how is it recent that it's coming out, but yet they supposedly taught it to us when we was in school? Do that make sense?
No, it doesn't make any sense. You're right, Diva. But I guess I come from a tactical advantage because my godmother started me on the path. And I was one of the few lucky people to gain knowledge. But you're right. The schools have failed to teach African American history because African American history is American history too. That's what they don't want to acknowledge. American history is supposed to really be about the founding fathers, if you know what I'm saying. Mm-hmm. And it's a fight, it's a battle that we're just going to have to continue in this country to make sure, like, for example, in Florida, Ron DeSantis pretty much signed an executive law that basically bans Black history from being taught in Florida. And this is where you go to the ballot to, make your
you know what, Tony, I get what everybody's saying, vote in the ballot, but I'm just telling y'all, this is just my opinion. It's bigger than that. Money speaks. And when we do something different, and it impacts their pockets, then they make a change. I'm
That is
telling
true.
you right now, if everybody decided to shut down the public school system and not send their kid there, I bet you they'll start listening to what we want in those public schools. E, you wanted to say something?
I
Well,
think
yes, that is
that
correct. When money does talk, you're right. You are right.
I think that
Mhm.
it sounds good. I think that when we say that the schools have failed the children, the schools haven't failed the children. It's the government and it's the parents who intercede and give all of their input. So much has changed with the schools and with the discipline, and the children are coming in less smart and more rowdy, and they're leaving more rowdy than they are smart. And so when we say that there are things that are coming out from history that have been uncovered and people have been digging for the truth, and we have new answers, we can't say that math is math and English is English, because and science is science, because all of those things evolve and change. The textbooks, they evolve. The history, it evolves. And so the reason that they are putting these bans in place is because they don't want those truths to be told, and they don't want those truths to be taught in the classroom, whether or not it was taught in a minimal capacity or a maximum capacity. In the past, the more information that we have now that should be taught is not going to be, because of the bans. And so there are lots of things that they are throwing out, this conservative agenda that we say, oh, well, it's been happening for a long time. It has been happening for a long time, but a lot of things in there are it doesn't give you the full scope, and it doesn't apply to every single person. And what I think a lot of people take exception with is, this is supposed to be the best country in the world. People are supposed to get so many freedoms and liberties to choose, even if it is an illusion. That is what drew people to migrate here, and why people continue to do so. And a lot of things with that conservative agenda, which is wrapped into that Project 2025, it stems from um, white supremacy. It stems from what these ideas have been rooted from in Christianity, which everybody does not believe in. There are lots of things in there which are problematic. And even with the idea of how they are trying to reform divorce, what they're trying to do to women's rights, I agree with you with what they're trying to do with contraceptives, and how they're trying to slow women down. That is a problem. And trying to keep women stuck to men. That is a problem. There are lots of things that are problematic. And I know we got stuck on how much Black history was taught in schools. But I really hope that the main takeaway is how much Black history won't be taught in school, or how much Black history people won't know. Because I hear Tony when he says, well, we have to educate ourselves. There are lots of parents who work 2 jobs, who barely see their children because they have to put food on the table, and it's on the hierarchy of needs that they will rather make the money to get the food, the shelter, and and be able to provide for their child. They don't have time to sit down and do homework and teach a child Black history, even though it's important. Some people, that's not on their hierarchy of needs. And so it sounds good to say that we have to educate ourselves, which we do, but the major thing is that if we are sending our children to these schools that are ran by this particular government, which has already given us their behind to kiss, we cannot expect that our children will come out any smarter. And to sit here and say, well, the line, the zip code, and keeping our children zoned for this particular school, I would like us to start throwing out some solutions, some ideas of how we think that can be solved. And I'm really not a fan of these vouchers that I keep seeing in the chat. Oh, let's just give everybody vouchers. Give people vouchers where? To send their Black children to the white schools? Explain that to me. Explain that, how you think that your Black child is going to go to a white school with a predominantly white demographic, and they're going to come out any better than they were in the school that they were in. Explain that to me. I feel like we're getting stuck on an issue that is so minute, and people say we have to rise above and see the bigger picture. I'm still waiting for the bigger picture. I'm waiting on the solutions that somebody's going to tell me that on November 3rd or whenever the hell we're supposed to vote, that we have a plan of action. And I haven't heard that yet.
I'm gonna talk to you 1 second. Priscilla said, you be met with a truancy officer. How would somebody be met with a truancy officer if they don't send their kid to the public school and they send them to a private school or a Catholic school? The kid is in school. How would the truancy officer come to them? Let me say this, E. We're gonna come to the fork in the road, so to speak, right? With this conversation. That's why, like I said, I have the conversation, but the conversation is hard to have. And I want to say this also, right? That there's a Black History Month, but does every culture have a month? I'm just checking. Does every culture have a month?
I don't know. Do they?
No. So you know how they say we looking at the glass as half. You can either look at the glass as half full or half empty. It's like, everybody is stuck. So okay, Emmanuel says Hispanic is September. I didn't know that, Emmanuel. Thank you for that. Said, should every culture have a month? So it amazes me how we care about ourselves, but then we want everybody to care about us, right? Don't we all need to care about each other so we can balance this thing out, right? So
Huh?
what you said? What?
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I wasn't on mute. I didn't understand that. I'm sorry.
What I said was that when we had this, when I said this Asians is May. I didn't know that. Okay, so you're educating me now. So they said Asians is May. May is Asian month. I had no idea. September is Hispanic month. I had no idea. So that's why I asked, does every culture have a month, right? Because I know a lot with so if months already taken, so this is going to help our conversation, right? What do we want to they even have mental health month. That I know. But what I'm saying is, does every culture have a month? So a lot with the Black History Month being February, and everybody's complaining it's the shortest month of the year, right? So were other months already taken? Do everyone have a month? So it's like, instead of looking at the glass as half full, I feel like sometimes when things happen, is looked at as half empty. No, and so to back this thing up a little bit, you said with the vouchers, you said with this, you said with that. This is not the first election season where things were out of order, right? And we're definitely not going to correct everything overnight. It's like you have to pick that thing one piece at a time. And so the reason why I feel it's so hard is because one, and when I say we, I don't mean us on the panel, I'm talking in general. The argument always stays at a very low level. It always stays at a very low level where nobody can agree on this, that, and the other. And as long as we don't agree, we won't get to the point where we can make change. Because first you got to agree, then you got to make a plan, then you got to agree on that plan, and then you got to execute that plan. Right? So nobody wants to agree. Everybody loves to say, well, this is not going to work. That's not going to work. I don't like this. I don't like that. But we never do a plan and come to some type of agreement and say, you know what? Let's move forward with that for the greater good of all.
So I haven't heard that here.
Wait. I'm not, this conversation is not against you, E.
No, I didn't say it was against me, but I thought we were going to be talking about solutions and throwing out ideas.
Wait. Okay, someone says she out. I'm out. Love you, D. But too bad as OG peeps can't support or at least support us too. Yeah. Okay. So what I'm saying is, everything really, the root of everything to me, my opinion, goes back to money. Okay, wait, Sasuke giving us some education. January, Martin Luther King Jr. history. February, African American Black History Month. March, Women's History. May, Asian American and Pacific Islander History. June, LGBTQ Pride. September, Hispanic Heritage. Okay. So what I'm saying is everything goes back to money. And when you hit them in the pockets, then all of a sudden they wake up, right? So I know what the bottom line is for most of these agendas. They're seeing us when we creep to the top just a little bit, people get scared. And I'm telling you, if you look at the numbers, a lot of women in general, they have been rising to the top, delaying family, getting educated, starting their own business, and people are up there like, oh my God, whoa. If you was with me yesterday when I read that Vibe executive story, that her thing she had with Diddy, she said in there, if I succeeded, it would have the men after me. It was a no-win situation. She said, if I succeeded, the men would be after me. If I failed, then they would be like, exactly, because she's a woman. It was these low-level expectations, right? So as we as females rise to the top and we're getting educated and we're doing better, we're making more money. You know, there's a scared thing there. So how do they stop us? We're the only ones that can have babies. So if you remove that and you remove, okay, we're not going to pay. First of all, let me tell you how they've been doing this. A lot of insurance companies, they don't pay for contraceptives. They don't. They don't pay for contraceptives. So now they're saying, well, they reverse Roe versus Wade, right? So it was like, they're going to find a way for us to slow us down, because now if you get pregnant, what you going to do? I don't disagree about voting, y'all. I hope y'all understand that. Nothing in my head or nothing out of my mouth came about don't vote. Never said that. But I am saying read, and I am saying know what's going on, and I am saying that Project 25, almost everything in there that I read, and personally, like I said, I know people didn't really go through this with a fine-tooth comb, because this thing, let me see, where's my screen at? This thing is 922 pages. 922 pages. And it is more than one person contributed to this document. And when you, and they saying it's the promise. Every time I look at this thing, I go crazy. And when you actually read it and you read the words that come before the agenda that they're trying to push, they tell you what's happening now, and they're telling you what they propose should happen, you know, come this, that, and the other, whatever the case may be. It's very insightful. Like I said, a lot of it is not about me disagreeing with it or agreeing with it. I know what they're saying, and it tells you about all of these people. It tells you about every last one of them, like who contributed to this document. It tells you all the authors. All I'm saying is that people need to actually go through it themselves. A lot of people, they're getting the cliff notes, and they're highlighting pieces of this document that they know is going to trigger the people. And they know once they trigger people, they stop the people from actually using their brain and thinking, and they stay stuck on that. Oh, we're not going to get the free lunch anymore. Well, if you go back into who was getting a free lunch in the first place, you would see many people who really needed it wasn't getting it anyway. They still had to pay $2, $3, $4, $5 a week because they claimed they made $2 over the poverty limit. If you look at the poverty limit on some of these applications, it's so low. I don't even know who people that make that type of money, how they can eat with that many people in their family. It's very low. Before I get out of here, because I ain't even getting to my next topics. Go ahead.
You know, the idea of keeping women stuck is a frightening thing for me. And so that is enough for me to say, you know what, if this is where we're going, you won't get my vote that way. And I think that it is unrealistic to think that in today's society, with the way that relationships are, with the way that marriages are, that the 50% of marriages end in divorce. 7 years is the average. And so, some children will be raised in a single parent household. And that's just the reality. And yes, it can make things harder, but it doesn't mean that the children cannot be just as successful. And I think if you have a healthy household where a child can be emotionally stable, they can thrive intellectually, and they're safe and they're well fed and they're well taken care of, I think that's better than cohabitating with a partner who is going to be abusive and absolutely raise terror in the household. I think it goes above not just me and you and the children. Is what they want to do with our intelligence agencies. It's the secrets that this man has had, and how we are lining ourselves up and positioning ourselves with our allies, and how we are being targeted by our enemies. I think that we really need to do a deep dive, and I can't wait until you go through the project, Diva, because it's, even though you say it's been going on for a long time, I think that a lot of people are becoming outraged about it. People are scared. People are triggered, and rightfully so. They are supposed to be. They are supposed to be upset. They are supposed to be angry, because now it's time to do something about it. We only have a few more months to make something shake, but we also have to make sure that we are looking at these representatives, because these policies have been creeping up on us. The more and more we creep to the top, the more and more they slide these little things in here, and these hidden agendas, and the laws change so frequently. So we have to make sure that we are up to date. We need to download the apps on our phone, so that when these things happen within our states, we are at least notified. Even if we can't read it when it comes out, we can at least bookmark it and come back to it. I think this is a bigger discussion, and I can't wait to do a deep dive.
It is. Let me say this, E. And listen,
I'm going to curse.
you're gonna curse? Don't curse. What happened?
I'll tell you later.
Okay. Let me say this, E. And I'm telling people, so, and I tell this so that people don't think I'm coming at a single parent's neck, right? Single parent right here, never was married. I'm telling you that it's just statistically true. It really is. A child fares off better when they're raised. Every man in this world is not abusive and beating on their wife and yelling and screaming in the house and this, that, and the other. Children and families fare off better when it's a two-parent household. Children and family fare off better when the village is involved.
I agree.
I know it's hurtful to some people. And when people decide that they're going to have 10 kids out of wedlock, it's chaotic. And it does minimize, and it puts you have a bigger chance of living in poverty when you come from a single parent household. It's just facts, right? And just by the nature of it all, if you got a parent that has to work, that's the only parent in that household. Now that child either has to go to daycare or school. A lot of times they're going to be in before care and after care. By the time the parent gets home, she's tired, they tired, whatever the case may be. You're in a vicious cycle. And all of the things of just even sitting down and having dinner together at the table, which there's a whole a thing behind that too. Just sitting down and having dinner as a family at the table. Listen, all I'm gonna say is that sometimes the truth hurts, But the truth will set us free. And I think we once we can embrace that and be okay with it, we can start to rise above. So
Diva.
promise number one, wait, I want to let Ian know in the conversation. Ian, I'm gonna come back to you. So promise number one of this is restore the family as the centerpiece of American life and protect our children. Okay, people need to read this in its entirety. Because even though some of the things you don't have to, the thing is, we never have to agree with every single word. Thank you, Sebastian. Dinner at the table is psychologically beneficial. It is, right? In this piece right here with the family, it really touched my soul. And people get so mad about this, right? But today, the American family is in crisis. That's facts. That's facts. 40% of all children are born to unmarried mothers, including more than 70% of Black children. There is no government program that can replace the hole in a child's soul cut out by the absence of a father. I mean, that seems heart-wrenching, but we got to deal with the facts. It's true. We know this by alone. You got Nick Cannon, and everybody, every time I do a Nick Cannon story, they excuse the fact because somebody has money, that replaces a body, an individual. It does not. I guarantee you, if all of those baby mamas of Nick Cannon were actually willing to talk, they would speak the truth and say they're lonely, they hurt, and they do wish that Nick Cannon was in their household. That one, I forgot her name. The one that has the twins by him, she did half admit that, she wished he was in the household. You're up. Go ahead and speak. I gotta edit my title.
Hello, thank you so much. I'm going to try and make this very short. You said so many profound things to me. So let me gather my thoughts and see if I can put them through correctly. I agree. I came from a single parent home. My mother was awesome, but I wish there was a dad in the home. My dad was the okay man. I've been married. Come October 16th, it'll be 35 years.
Amen.
So, wasn't the best. There was a lot going on. But the one thing that bothered me is I think all of our last names, except for my brother and myself, we had different last names. I wanted all my kids by one man. So it wouldn't be a whole lot of step this, step that. He had a kid before, obviously, we were together. But I will say this. I think it does help. And like I was telling my sister, as much as I wanted to raise my son, he needed a man because I'm a woman. I'm a mother and I'm a nurturer. I couldn't instill the values of a man in my one and only son. So I think family is important. I'll say that. Two, I just think, kind of like you said, we should read. And I try not to vote with my heart or with past things that I learned. At one point, I was affiliated with one, and then I kind of changed because of things that I learned. I worked in government. I saw different things that I didn't agree with. So it kind of swayed me to sometimes vote outside the box. So saying on that, I think it's important because a lot of things that I saw that happened in the school, and I spoke to my children's superintendents and things like that, you have to do a lot of research and a lot of things. So for me, I think I've been clear and I won't say anything. I just think we need to do our homework. I definitely believe in a two-parent home, but if you don't have that, then you can still be successful. But I definitely believe in a two-parent home. And third, getting involved in the schools and knowing what's going on. I'm glad my youngest is 21, but I have 8 grandchildren. So there's a lot of things that go on that I don't necessarily agree with. So that's kind of all I wanted to say. But I agree with a lot that you said tonight. So
I appreciate you, and I will say this. It's a different psychology too when you have several kids in one last name. And I'm not coming at nobody. Let's please level up here. One last name is Brown. The other last name is Black. The other last name is Orange. It gets messy, and that changes there's a dynamic that goes on with that also. And I hate to say this, but we can't change the way people treat us. But I will also say this: now you're in the school system, and let's say your kids are close in age, unfortunately, sometimes nothing is always in everyone. They will treat you differently. Oh, you got the kid, your one kid's last name Black, Orange, Brown. Oh, those are all your kids. Oh, you the mother. It's a lot. We can have a deeper conversation on this. But my real point is, I want people to really read this thing. Read this thing. There's some points in there that, although they may hurt to the core because it may seem like it's part of your life, it is what it is. And we can't change what we can't get past. And somebody put in there too that, when you don't know your history, you repeat it. Well, right now, we are in this vicious cycle of repeating history over and over and again. And because we embrace and staying in ignorance, and we connect that way, that's why we can't ever have change. I'm gonna let you close out the final word. And Katrina, if you want to say something, because I got to go, y'all, and I got to edit this title because we got to none of the other stories. But go ahead,
Well, I disagree. I do think that a lot of women have elevated and learned from the regrets of their mothers and grandmothers. Hence why the birth rate is low. Hence why women are going after our careers and putting motherhood, we're delaying that until we get financially stable. So I do think women have learned for sure. And I think that when they put in here that the American family is in crises, well, by forcing women to have children that they don't want, that only further adds to that problem. Because if you know that the marriage rate is what it is, how dare you go in and reverse Roe v. Wade? How dare you even propose a ban for contraceptives when you already know that 70% of Black children are born outside of marriage? So what do you think is going to happen when you ban contraceptives and reverse Roe v. Wade? You're going to have more Black babies born out of wedlock. And so this whole, it's gaslighting. Oh, we care
Can
about
I
the family.
interject? Just one small little thing, if you don't mind. Please forgive me, E. I don't mean to disrespect you, but
Of
I
course.
guess since we're all enlightened, birth control. That's the one thing I don't understand. And I'm not bragging or boasting, and I'm not putting anyone down because I don't believe in that. I have very close people with me who have had abortions. Me, I've never have. But I think at the ripe age of probably 16, 17, I understood if you do this, cause and effect. If you do this, then you get that. So why don't we ever place the burden on the person? So I do agree with you. After the story I heard about the mother, I think it was a couple days ago, who hurt her babies, that tore my heart because, no disrespect, and I don't want to get too personal, I lost my 30-year-old June 18th, 2020. I cried like crazy. I don't understand how a mother could do that. But I thought we were more educated and intellectual. Why aren't we using birth control? We know with X, we're going to get this. If I overeat, I'm going to gain weight. If I lie down, I might come up pregnant. So why are we hurting a life because of something that we did? It seems like there's no accountability to me. That's just my own opinion. And I'm going to shut my mouth and listen to you.
Because
Well,
sometimes birth control don't work.
well, even if you gave me birth control for free and I didn't take it, and I said, oh, you know what, I want to go get an abortion, that's just what I want to do, and it should be available to me, because that was my understanding. And so if I don't choose to take accountability, but I say, you know what, I know I don't want to be a mother, I know I'm not going to be a good mother, let me escape this situation while I can, instead of bringing a child into this world, and especially if I know I don't want to be pregnant. If I have failed at accepting or taking accountability prior to, why are you punishing me after the fact and you won't allow me another course of action afterward? You don't get to punish me and an unborn child and say, oh, you should have taken accountability. I think that is too many people trying to hold women accountable, while these men who are walking around, like Diva has mentioned so eloquently, Nick Cannon, and no one is holding him accountable. When you look in the comments, all they say is, oh, he's taking care of them though. He's providing for them financially. But when it comes to women, we are burdened with the responsibility of making sure we don't get pregnant. We're not impregnating ourselves. And so I think that for anybody who does not want to get an abortion, it's great, because The law, the law does not make you have one. It's not mandatory. It's a voluntary thing. And so, but for those who do want one, we should not be penalized by the accountability and morality police and say, oh, you should have been accountable. You're supposed to know when you have sex, this guy. I think we all know that it could happen, but because it's a natural human inclination to want to be physical with another human being, especially, and we have to look at where these types of situations take place. When we're talking about abortion and where these Planned Parenthood locations are, they're in specific locations, and typically with people who may not have a lot of other things going on. But for instance, if I am a young woman, I am in college, I go out, I have too much to drink and I make a mistake, I wake up and I have a situation and I need to take care of it, no one is going to come to me and tell me to be I think that's messy.
So I want to say that it goes back to what they're saying. The family is in crisis.
But it's bit okay. It's in crisis, but don't make us have a family.
I know we could come to the fork in the road, E. But I just want to say this to the general public out there, that all racks back to the family is in crisis. So again, can't tell anybody how to live their life. But if we go back to the basis of family, where you meet someone, y'all get together, and yes, I know things happen, right? Y'all get together, y'all get married, y'all stay together, y'all have this family, y'all have these kids, and y'all raise these kids up. I don't care. This is, again, just my opinion. I don't care what anybody say. You stand a better chance overall in society with everything if you coming out of a healthy 2-parent household. It's nothing going to beat that. The family is in crisis. This young mother, there was a mother, I think this was about 3-4 weeks ago, where she just took all of her kids. I think it might have been 2 or 3 daddies involved with these kids. She took all of her kids and just took them to social services. God bless her for not hurting these kids. But again, the family is in crisis. Where were the dads? So this thing of concept, and like I said, a lot of times when we say things, because it hits home with you, and, psychiatrists will tell you that when something hits home at you, like it hits you that bad, and this is not you, E, this is nobody, I'm just talking here. They said when something hits you, it's because you still didn't heal from that thing. People really can't tell me anything about being a single mother because I healed from that, right? So I'm beyond that place. And I'm smart enough to know so I can teach the next generation. And I even teach my son, listen, I did it. You seen what I had to do. You saw how hard I worked. And I thank God every day that I had a whole entire village that helped me. Without that village, I don't know if I could have done what I've done. And to this day, so my son is he'll be 19 this month. He just finished his first year of college. But even with college, I have so much help. I can't even thank God enough. There are some single mothers, and listen, I make good money. There are some single mothers that have, and I just have one child. But when I tell you the amount of help I get from the village, I be like, God, I don't know if I could have did this without them. And so we got to think realistically. My son's father is no longer living. I don't know realistically how so many people how they do this. I commend when I see parents that have 2, 3, 4 kids and they're doing the darn thing. I commend them, because I say to myself, even when it came to picking my son up from school, when it came to daycare, when I say his father's parents and my sisters, listen, it takes a village. And I do believe the family 100% and wholeheartedly, it's in crisis. It's in crisis. The family is in crisis. And when we realize that, and we stop thinking that we can do this thing on our own, I think we're going to be on a better path. Y'all got me in mad. I'm running in overtime here. Sebastian, I see you. I got to give you 60 seconds.
Only 60?
Well, I'll give you a little bit more, Sebastian, but I got to go. Go
Okay,
ahead.
number one, I want to say this.
Katrina and Julius, go ahead.
I want to say this. I don't know what's happening, but me and Diva have been connecting for these past few days on many topics. Two, the reality is, I'm going to say this. As a Black person in this country, I've noticed something amongst all of us. We don't like hearing the truth. We don't like hearing the truth. We clearly don't. Whenever you say, why do we do this? They're like, why are you asking so much questions? Or it gets very divisive. Whenever you question something, they're like, oh, would you rather this? It's a lot. It's a lot. And it's just the truth. I completely agree with you on many things. The family is under attack. It's not just under attack because fathers are being absent as well, but also I just came from work, that's why I'm out of breath. I ran up to my room. um, it's not just under attack because of fathers are absent. It's also under attack is because we tolerate violence within our communities, and the quote unquote gangs be pow-powing our fathers too. My godmother is a widow. She was married and everything, and she sadly lost her husband, and she had to raise 3 children by herself. Everyone everyone circled around her, including her husband's family. My thing is this: when will we as a community acknowledge that we have things to repair within ourselves and keep on stop saying that, oh, they need to help us, they need to give us reparations, they need to do this? Well, let me tell you something. Because we don't have proper financial literacy, if we had reparations, we'd probably blow through them in the next 2 years. We would probably blow through them. And I know a lot of people.
Just hold on one second. Proof of that is so many people got so much money from that. What's that? The stimulus check?
The stimulus check and the unemployment assistance, all those things.
They blew through it. Blew through it. But go ahead.
I think someone mentioned something about Roe v. Wade and like the birth rates and stuff, but we have to be honest. Low birth rates are dangerous as well as high birth rates as well. They're both equally dangerous because people keep talking about Social Security is going to be cut. Quote unquote politicians want to cut Social Security. Social Security is going to be cut naturally because there's not enough people who are working and contributing to it because there's low amounts of people who are being born. That is what's more dangerous. Every country needs 2 births per woman to sustain its population. The census has even come out. By 2030, we will hit 360 million people, and then we're going to reach the peak and we're going to start collapsing in terms of population. So all these people out here who are saying, yes, abortion's going to help, we need abortion for education, and women need to better themselves. You can say that, but don't be crying when you don't get your check, your Social Security check at 65 because because there was not enough kids who could now contribute to labor. The reason is for that. Mind you, currently the baby boomers are retiring and some are even leaving this earth, sadly. So therefore, there's not a huge labor force. This is why nursing is actually one of the most in-demand careers, is because so many baby boomers are more sick now and they need care. This is why these things happen. You need high birth rates to sustain your living. Japan had low birth rates, and now they're starting to implement higher taxes onto its people to contribute to offset those losses because they don't have high labor. So you need birth rates you need this. And besides, also, children are psychologically good for society as well. Some people can't have kids naturally, so they want to adopt. And there are 37 families who want a child, every baby. There's 37 families vying for that child. So I want people to take a look at these things before they completely just say, don't do this, don't do that. And also, the real conversation, y'all need to be mad to Barack Obama, who failed to try to get Roe v. Wade codified into law when he had the Senate and the Congress together. Because Roe v. Wade was never into law. And the 10th Amendment clearly states, if something's not codified into law, it is left up to the powers of the state and the people, point blank, period. So the whole complaining is not working anywhere. And Diva, you mentioned something huge when you mentioned about Project 2025. Most of the things already exist today. People are just outraged that it's in writing now. People are just outraged. And besides, the former president has come out and said he is not affiliated with them. He released his own agenda called Agenda 47, which I recommend people to go read instead of reading what the media wants y'all to read. Go read Agenda 47, and then we can have a conversation. I do not like the former president. I do not like the current president. I'm a realist. I'm not a Democrat or Republican. I believe in reality. And at this point, they both are equally bad, in my opinion.
All right.
I'm done. I need
Thank
to
you,
drink some
Sebastian,
water.
because we got to have a part two. Julius, please make it quick.
So I just have to say this as someone who has lost family members to gun violence. I remember hearing about the incident in 2017 at the congressional baseball game. It was wrong then, it's wrong now. Do I like Donald? No. Am I voting for him? No. However, people have a right to assemble and hear their political people speak. Nobody has a right to pull out a pow pow and start the bang bang. I don't stand for that. That is not America. Cut it out.
I appreciate it. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Julius. Go ahead.
And I just want to make one more thing clear. If you disagree with somebody, this is what I'm trying to learn in discernment. Disagree in love. But know you can have your life at the end of the day. We're in trying times. Let it go.
I like that, Julius. Disagree in love. I like that a lot. Katrina, 60 seconds, please. I got to go.
I'm good, Diva. I'm good.
Okay.
I've heard a lot and I listened to a lot, and I agree with some, disagree with most. But I'm good.
All right.
That's all.
Yeah. All right. Listen, guys. I thank you for having this conversation. I got to edit it. We didn't get to our other stories. We could do them another day. It's an important subject, important conversation. We got to see how this thing ends up playing out. Yeah, I agree, disagree, and love. Come on now, Brown Eyes. I love it. Listen, guys, if you didn't hit that like button coming in, hit the like button going now. We will dissect Project 25. If I could figure out a way to do this thing is humongous, okay? And I have a book club that I'm a part of, and we meet every month. The highest book I think we ever read was 300 and something pages. I can't be doing this. And I do a lot of Audible, so I like to listen. This thing was too much, but like I said, as I was skimming through and reading it, right, a lot of it is already happening, and a lot of it is some true statements in there. But I do know it's hard for people to digest the truth. But anyway, guys, hit the like button. Thanks for spending Saturday with me, and I'll see you next time. Good night and goodbye, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.